All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining today. Hopefully, the stream will work. I'm trying a new streaming service. Hello, hello. So, I'm trying a new streaming service. For those of you who have been joining me throughout, please let me know if you notice any differences other than my Instagram being on there now in the streaming quality. Because I'm curious how it compares to what I have been doing already. And I hope everyone is having a good Friday. Looks like we're active. All right, so we'll let people come in. And before we get started, if you have a pencil, a marker, and eraser, these would be your ideal tools today. But if you don't, no worries, as long as you have maybe a light and dark colored pencil crayon. That would be amazing. Start with the lighter one. The darker one we'll save for later. And if you have something to color with, I'm going to be painting later today, so that is also good. And yes. And as I mentioned, I am using a new streaming service for those of you just coming in. Please let me know if you notice any differences in quality between this streaming service and the one that I have been using. And you can hear me all right, right? Everyone can hear me? Is that a yes? Thank goodness. All right, we're good. Sorry, guys. I just started trying to figure this out like an hour ago, so I didn't know what I'm doing. So I got some good recommendations this week, and the one I'm deciding to go with is Finn from Star Wars. And the reason we're going with Finn from Star Wars is he has proven that he is a hero, both in character, on screen. So I thought, you know what, with the amazing things he has been doing this week, I think when this recommendation came up, so the resolution's downgrade a bit. Ooh, that's good to know. All right, let's see if that continues. If not, we'll try this one for this month, and I'll go back to the other one once the subscription's up. Because they're both paid services, so I just had to once one came off, I just quickly got another one. Sorry about the resolution. If there's any way to stop this video, I don't know. Alrighties, so yeah, I think Finn from Star Wars was very appropriate. So yes, that is who we're drawing today. Yeah, sorry about the resolution. I restarted the internet and everything. But yeah, I think I can see it. It's a bit downgraded. That's good to know. Huh. Alrighties. So if you have any problems with the seeing stuff, let me know. All right, so just as always, we are going to start with our favorite shape, and that's for the head. We're going to start a circle, but John Finn has, yeah, Shy Guy's a good recommendation as well. Well, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll try this for 1 month because I pay for a month's service, so we'll see. We'll see. So Finn does tend to have a longer head, so instead of drawing a circle, we're actually going to draw an oval. So we have an oval today that we're going to be starting with. And I'm going to draw a line across like we usually do. His head is going to be going to the side. So I'm going to draw, instead of my line down the middle, I'm going to draw it to the side. So this will be the center of the face right here. And then I'm just going to start trying to figure out the pose earlier on this time because I want him to have it holding the lightsaber, because does get to hold it a couple times, so why not? It's a wonderful pose. So we're going to do a little circle for the neck, and it would be about where the halfway point of the head is. So draw yourself a little circle, and I'm going to slant the shoulder. So I'm going to draw this one slightly higher and this one slightly lower. It's going to be in a slant. And then he's going to have a longer torso. So I'm going to actually draw a rectangle shape. And then if this is going this way, I'm just going to lean this one a bit straight because his legs are going to be way differently. But right now we can start with this shape right here. Lightsabers for everyone. I completely agree. So this is our basic body shape. And the way he's going to be holding the lightsabers, I'm going to have it positioned. I'm just going to draw a line. So if this is the head, I'm going to draw a line just to the side of the head right here. And I'm just using this line as a guide to where I would like. It's a bit hard to make up the pencils. Sorry. New streaming service. What's up with you? There's a setting or anything. Let's see one. No, I'm scared that if I click that, it'll make me leave. All right, we'll figure this out. We're learning. New program. Let's see if it does this again. If not, I'll just go back to the other one. This one involves one step. The other one involves two. But I don't mind the extra step if it works a little better. And then we're going to draw where we want the arm sockets. So this will be a socket for the arm, and this will be the socket for the arm. And I'm just going to show you where I want the fist to be. So if this is the upper and lower part of his body, and this is the line, this circle right here will be one fist, and this circle right here is going to be the other fist. I'm going to try to darken my pencils a little bit today. So now you have to think of everything as cylinders and think of everything when it's connecting. Let me borrow the mannequin quickly. So he's going to have his hands, sorry, her shoulder's a little whacked, basically like this. So you could see this one's going to be longer and this one's going to be cut shorter, and you won't be able to see much of it because it is going to be in perspective. So this is something to keep in mind. So it's going to be basically just like that. So this is the pose we're going to be drawing today. Thank you for demonstrating. So that means that this is the top of the arm and this is the other part. So you could draw two cylinders. This is where the elbow is and the other cylinder. Oh, sorry, I forgot to brace back onto my finger. Give me one sec, guys. My finger's still healing, so I just want to make sure not to fudge it up. So if that's the case, remember I just showed you guys the perspective. So that means the arm, this arm is going to be back, and this will be the other part of the arm. So it's going to be tucked behind. We're thinking everything in perspective. And you could draw a little circle here for the thumb and a little circle here for the thumb. It was getting better, and then I kind of put a little too much pressure on it. Oh, that's interesting. It clears up when I'm not drawing. Good thing. I'll be making sure to do that. And then a socket here for one leg and a socket here for the other. This leg, I'm going to draw a cylinder going to the side. And if this is the knee, bend it back down. And then downwards. And add it to a cylinder shape right here for the foot. Sharp and around. Oh, this was not responsible. That was just all me. I think I was actually fixing my hair, doing something. And it was just like, gosh darn it. It was very silly of me. And this one right here, we're going to bend it this way because this leg's going to be going a little back. That's where the kneecap is. And then shorter push right here. And then this one, how it went to the side, center this one a bit more. So this will make sense overall. This is the basic start of our shape today. So now we can start working on his face. So draw a circle for one eye. I'm going to make the circle a little wider than it's taller because he has more narrow eyes. And then a little bit of an eye here. And then we're going to start carving it out. So I'm going to darken the top of the eye. End it right where the line is. And just sharpen it up. Make it last round a little bit at the bottom. And then we're going to do a circle inside the eye for the eyeball. And another one right here. And then we're going to slant his eyebrows. It's going to have a very determined look. And then go back up. And same thing. Make this one more narrow. And slant it back up. And this is actually going to be black. And then add a reflection in your eyes. And then start carving out the circle. That will be the part of our eyes. Got it. Nope, this is all good, guys. This is all good. I'm still getting used to what I just did today with this new program. And then his nose. We're going to give him a nice big button nose. He has a cute big nose. And then we're going to draw his determined look. Go downwards. And add a little bit of a lower lip. And now where the head, at the end here, we're going to draw the ear, which is basically a half oval, and a little nudge on the inside, and a little half circle. We're getting somewhere. And now the side of his head, we're going to follow along. Going to give him a little bit of a cheek. And then same thing, darken this side. And round his chin. Give him a nice rounded chin. And now we could draw his hairline. So he is going to have more, hello again, he is going to have more of a sharper hairline. I know we talked about that usually we don't give the sharper hairline, but for his particular hairstyle, he does have a sharper hairline. So what we're going to do is it's going to be a little bit of a slight curve half circle here. And then it's going to cut across right here and just a little past the head. And now we're going to go a little bit over the head circle since there is a bit of a mask for the hair. We're going to curve it around the top and curve it back. And then add a little bit right here. Darken it out, just a little smidge of hair showing. And this is going to be black. And the start of our fin. I still really like this character. Alrighties. All right, and then his neck, you could darken it up. We'll move over to this hand right here first. So we're going to add a slight curve. So you see it added a bit of a triangle shape right there. And I'm going to go across and then add his little fingers. And his fingers are going to end about where the lightsaber is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then curve it back. Then I could add the little thumb, square it off a bit more. And right here, across the top, do the same little shape, but this time the thumb will overlap. Sorry guys, let me start scribbling a bit there. We'll overlap with the hand a little bit. You can see the thumb shape right there. And then the fingers cut back And they'll end about, again, where the lightsaber is. 1, 2, 3. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Alrighties. And now he wears the jacket because he has post jacket. So we're going to draw him with post jacket. So right here, you could add a cuff to his sleeve. So there's a little bit of an overlay. And right here, we're just going to add a little bit of a groove, little triangle to show that the cloth is bending there. Go across, connect it back, connect it up. And then right here, you could draw his jacket going inward. So we're just going to close off his jacket. And it has a little bit of a groove right here. It has a little bit of a collar. So you could draw a little triangle shape on both sides for the little bit of the collar that's showing. And then connect it back to the shoulder right here. Then right here, just draw it slightly upwards. I'm just going to stop since we kind of need to add the lightsaber. Woohoo! I am glad my tutorials are helping. That makes me very happy. So we're going to draw a cylinder right here and right here for the lightsaber. You can decorate the lightsaber how you feel fit, and it's just add a little cap here, a little cap shape here, a little, and then I can add a little cap shape right here, a little rectangle. And then I'm going to make the lightsaber going up, curving it back, and back down. And right here will be the side of his body. And here is going to be the other arm. Remember, guys, it's going behind here. So we see this part. And then this part's going to be peek-a-booing from behind his arm. And add a little notch right there to show that the arm is going back there. And right here, he has a little detailing to his jacket. And then right along the top here, there's this little line details that basically go like that. Do I have a favorite lightsaber color? Oh, I didn't really think about that. I do like the blue. The blue's a pretty one. And then right here, so we have to realize that his arm does turn. So this will be the top of his arm, and it turns. So that way we could see it all bend downwards. Da, da, da. And then we're going to add a collar because he has a shirt underneath. And then we could extend just a little past the rectangle his jacket. It will be leaning a little over his foot here. So we can bend it out and then bend it back. Add that little detail. And then this part right here will continue downwards. Try to end about the same place. And the start of his jacket. Add a little notch right here for that little detail too. Alrighties. And we're going to give him a belt. There's a little belt right here. So we're going to do the little rectangle for the belt. And then we could add little notches on both sides to show that, yes, that is the belt. Alrighties. So right here, just a little below the waist, we're going to add the bottom of his torso. And now we could start shaping out the legs. So this one we had going out. And his pants will end right there. I'm going to add that little notch just to show there's a little bend there. And then the same thing on the other side. Remember, this leg's going back. I'm going to follow along what I created. I'm just going to add a little notch to show that the cloth of the pants is hitting where the shoe is. And I'm going to follow the line I created help establish the shoe. And the shoe has a little bottom part of the shoe right here. And then it curves right here, just drawing some of the shoe details. And there's like a little line. And the same thing on this side. We'll go this way, the little line. It's actually 2 lines. Squeeze in a second line, 1, 2, 1, 2. So you can see this leg's in perspective and this leg's going more forward. So there is our fin today. Well, start of our fin today. So now once we have that, grab your pencil, marker, whatever you want to use for inking. So I'm going to grab a marker. Oh, and then, sorry guys, there's like I can't pick up my pencil. There's like a little detail right here in the jacket because this is going to be 2 different colors. So now I'm going to start with the hair, the ear, and if you guys want, now that you're inking the hair, you could add like little slight grooves or slight bumps to show that his hair is not completely even. So if you don't want that sharp look, so I'm just adding a little bit of a little bump to it. I'm just going to grab something else to fill the black because that's not a great black filler. This will fill the black a lot quicker. So remember guys, when we ink, we only pick the lines we want to keep. We completely ignore any lines we don't want to keep. We use, you know what? He tries his best. That's all that matters. Even if he gets defeated, he tried. That's all we can do. Even if we get defeated, we at least always have to try to fight for what's right. Darken everything up. Darken everything up. So you're going to notice that there is a break between the lower and the upper lid because I am not going to fill it all up. This one I am going to go across just because I want to show that there is, his eye is in perspective. I'm going to end in the same place, thicken that up. Darken up his cute nose. I can go to the eye. A reflection. Same thing on this side. A little gap for the reflection. Yep, he was defending his friend with the tools he had. And I actually know this one I left a little lower. I'm gonna add the black a little bit higher. There we go. Looking very determined, very strong, powerful stance. And his mouth. You will notice that when I'm inking, I don't know how well it'll show up on camera, it is a little thicker on the sides of his mouth than it is in the middle. And then just a little bit of a line for his lower lip. Now I can follow along. I have to turn this a little. And his neck. And if you guys want a little tip, yeah, the reflection in the eyes does look a bit creepy before I fill it in. So here's a little tip if you want to, if you're inking and you are more focused on the ink lines to show that there is weight above the head where it meets the neck, you could always add a little bit of a darkness on his neck And that already gives the illusion that the head is sitting above the neck. So there's a little tip for you guys. Now I'm going to go over here. Little thumb. And go back up here. And around up. Little groove. The collar part of his shirt. A little notch thingy there. And around this about and down. The bottom. You said the lines on the mouth are heavier at the ends. Why is that? Because if you look at your own mouth, the shadows that are cast and the way you close your mouth, it does thicken up at the ends there, and it just shows a little bit of a weight to the mouth. And it's just sometimes, it depends on what you're drawing and how you're drawing it, but it does make it look more mouth-like. Like that's where we added little laugh lines, but also adding the little bit of a heaviness there makes it feel more like a mouth. It makes it feel more like our mouths, that if you look, we just have a bit more of a shadow at the ends. So we have those little nooks. And especially when you're drawing someone with beautiful, powerful lips, it just sometimes helps show that in the little characteristics that they have. And I am very jealous of his lips. He has very beautiful lips. The commentary that I make during these streams. The lightsaber. And the shoulder slightly upwards. I'm just going to add a little groove right there for the jacket. While I'm inking it, thinking this up just a little bit. Show that the jacket is looping right there. Outside, it's leaning upwards because it is hitting the leg, and then we curve it back in. Hi. Thank you for joining us today. And then back in. So it's little details right here with the lines. Doop, 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 doop. Do, 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 do. All right. There's a little line here, line here. But you guys can see also when you start getting control over your tools, how I'm using the same tool but different line weights. It's all about pressure and controlling it. So a lot of times when you have a t-shirt, if you just draw the one line, if you draw a second thinner line just below, it gives it the feel of a t-shirt because that's like a trademark. A lot of t-shirts have that double stitching line there. So there's a little tip for you guys. Let's draw his belt. And the little detailing. I believe he has like a pocket right here, so I'm just going to draw a little quick pocket detail and just draw a line along the bottom. Just a little more detail to his jacket right there. No, don't worry. Sounds totally cool. All right. And then just add a little bit of a notch at the bottom to show that the cloth is hitting the shoe. Little notch there. Go back over. The shoe. I know you guys most likely have noticed that I skipped the lightsaber. I did that for a reason. The main reason I did that was because I do not want the outside of the lightsaber to be black, because I think that's too dark. So instead, what I'm going to do, I don't have a blue sparkler, do I? All right, this will do. I am going to just outline it in the sparkly color because it is a glowing lightsaber. A little bit of a glowy detail on the sides here. Just little dots, just showing little glowing. And I'll emphasize that with the color after. There we go. I think my lines aren't very straight today. Sorry, guys. Stick that up then. This is how you cheat. If you know you made a mistake and you could just thicken it up a little to correct it, do it! And no mistake was made. Oh, yes, sorry. There you go. My bad. My bad, my bad. I'm gonna get used to that being there. I wonder if I can move it. Next lesson. Can I move that? We'll figure it out. Learning, guys. I'm just taking a sip of coffee, letting it dry. And I am going to erase. So grab your eraser. Remember, guys, when you erase, you hold down the paper. Always hold it down, just to be careful. Oops, that wasn't dry yet. Haha, oh well. Effect, guys, it's just an effect. There we go. Alright, so now we can get to the coloring part. Woohoo, my favorite. Yeah, a lot of the effects, and even if it is done with black line, colorists do something called line holds. And line holds are basically when you add color to lines, to even if they're black originally, and that's something the colorist does. So that can also, so in the inks, you might still see it, or sometimes, which my colorist still does a lot, is they, even though I drew the lines, if they feel that something doesn't need a line there, just the line was made for the basic shape of it, they also just null the lines in the coloring stage. So I'm just mixing up a nice brown for a skin right now. A lot of the times I do add a little bit of a red to my browns, just a tiny bit. The reason I do that, it adds a nice warmer shade of skin tone. And that is just a preference for myself. There's something on my brush. There we go. Are you still there? Are you gone? So annoying. There's something on my brush. Oh, there. Got it off now. All right. And just fill it in with brown. Do, 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 do. Didn't put enough brown on my brush originally, so I'm just making sure to blend everything in nicely. It's a little darker brown there. Nice neck. His hands. Dum dum dum. As a pro artist, is it difficult to work with colorists, inkers, writers, anyone that goes into a book? I imagine you hardly talk to them or see them personally. I have never met my colorist, but she's one of the most amazing colorists I've ever worked with. So yes, we don't meet them personally. It is a lot of the time you have to put a lot of faith in your editor that they are picking a good team for you to work with. Because I have worked with colorists that have completely gutted my work, and I have worked with writers that were very difficult to work with. Mind you, if someone was difficult to work with, most likely I have not really worked with them again. Because you never know. You have to trust the editor that they're putting together a good team, but sometimes you just don't know. Like, you have to hope that I'm just mixing black guys, and as I mentioned before, my black I almost always mix blue because I don't like the black because it is a more browner shade of it. So I like to add a bit more blue to my brown. And you see how it contrasts really nicely against the slight red that I added to the skin tone. So the skin has that really nice warm feeling to it, where the clothes have a much cooler tone to it. But yeah, and there's also been editors that have been a little difficult to work with, but not in a long time. I've actually been extremely lucky that I have had a chance to work with many wonderful editors. And currently, the editors that I'm working with are some of the best, and I'm really grateful for that because you never know how things work out. And some editors are more controlling, and some just don't realize that maybe two people don't work well together, but it's trial and error. You have to put your trust in your editors that they make the good choices, and it can be quite difficult when the choices don't work out for whatever reason. I have been extremely lucky that the no workout has been less common than the workout. I'm glad that a lot of the creative teams that I've had the pleasure of working with have been wonderful to work with. Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility. Editors wear a lot of hats, and so they're the ones who their choices can make or break projects. Just making this a little lighter gray, just to show the contrast between the belt and his other clothes. And his eyes, I'm gonna mix brown and the black together just to add a much darker shade of brown into his eyes. So hopefully they'll dry the color I wanted to. If not, trial and error sometimes with colors. I think it's going to do what I need it to do. I'm just going to add a little bit of a shadow right here at the side of his nose. Just going to fade it out a bit more. Mix a bit of red into my brown because I want to add a little bit of just a little reflection right here on his lip. Keep it light, not too dark. And a little bit more darkness in certain areas of his skin tone. To add a little more contrast. And fade it out. That way it looks a little more contrasty. A little bit under his chin. A little bit on the sides of his hands right here. Now his jacket is a very sandy color to it, so I'm going to mix a bit of the sand color. I'm going to mix a tiny bit of brown just to darken it a bit more. All right, there we go. Well, technically this is going to be red, but I could add this red stripe afterwards. It's no big deal. I'll add that in the details. All right, and his shoes. I'm glad you're enjoying the process. I don't know if I could be an editor, guys. I don't think it's someone said maybe one day I could be an editor. I like being on the creative. I'm just gonna make his shoes a lighter gray. I like being on the creative side. I love writing and drawing and creating content. That's what I enjoy. I definitely want to continue to just be more active and maybe being more active in content creation. I think that would be maybe my next step. Just add, if you guys notice, I left white, just add the reflection. I'm just adding gray to the lightsaber. Now that this dried a little bit, I'm just going to mix up a little bit of purple, just to add some of the shadows. So red and blue make purple. My favorite colors to add for shadows. And now that I got a little purple, I'm going to add a shadow right here because his arm is definitely going to be casting a shadow. I'm going to add a shadow at the lower part of his jacket. Another one under his arm because it's going to definitely cast that shadow, and just to the side, just to show the curve of his body. And this is most likely going to be a little shadowed because his head is casting the shadow downwards. I'm going to add a shadow at the bottom here because definitely there's not any light hitting. Add a little shadow where the groove is, a little bit of a shadow, the edge of the body, and a little shadow just underneath where his head is. That's to show that his head is casting a shadow down. Who is your own personal favorite artist? Or is it a taboo question to ask? No, well, I don't have one personal favorite artist. There's many I do enjoy. There's so many amazing artists that I love their work. Like later today, I'm streaming with Peach again. I love her work. I don't know if you guys seen a lot of her cover work, mainly for Marvel and other companies. I think she is amazing. I love Dustin Wynn. His watercolors are so fun, and I love his characters. Joe Mad, Humberto Ramos are like two of the earlier artists that got me into comics, and I used to try and mimic their style a lot. Michael Turner was a huge inspiration to me. He was also an amazing person. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of artists I admire. It's hard to say which one. So now we will mix up a little bit of blue. I notice there's green there, so let's move and mix up the blue, make it a little brighter. I think it's too dark. Let's go for this blue, maybe. Okay, there we go. And a little bit of blue to the lightsaber. Now, the lightsaber is definitely, do I have any white here still? Or is this all peach? Are you white or peach? Sure, I might be able to work with you. All right, yeah, the peach still turned it. So what I'm doing is I'm grabbing blue and I'm mixing almost like a white into it. The reason why is the lightsaber is definitely going to be casting light on him in certain angles. So if the lightsaber is to the side of his face, I could add a little bit of light reflection where his ear is. And also the side of his face. And this is a fun way to show that the lightsaber is quite bright and it is casting light over onto his skin tone. Just show a little bit, doesn't have to be too bright. So now we have a light from the lightsaber. And if you want, you can add a tiny bit of the blue into his eyes too, to show that it is casting a bright light. Add a little bit to the side of his nose and a little bit right here on his clothes. So when you have something extremely bright, it would definitely cast a light onto whatever's closest to it. And you could also add a little bit of a blue on the edge right here of your lightsaber too, if you like. So now it feels, I'm just gonna add a little bit of a reflections on the outside, just a little bit of a light blue, just to make it feel like the lightsaber is quite bright and it's casting a light outwards. And there's a little bit, I'm just gonna darken this, make it more blue. So now we have the light of the lightsaber shining itself onto what's around it. We'll see how that dries. So now I'm going to add a little bit of a purple for the ground that he's standing on, his shadow. Because remember, guys, when you stand, you cast a shadow. So I'm going to make mine purple. Because I like drawing purple shadows. White. Aw, thank you so much. So now I'm just going to add a bit of a darker teal just for like a little really light horizon line right there. Oops, I went right into a shoe with that one. Sorry, buddy. I mean, your pants. And I'm just going to add little, very loose, very little bit of mountains because even though I don't think his lightsaber ever comes up in the desert, I feel like drawing the desert right now. So just a little hint of a horizon. A little bit of orange right here to show. There we go. And I'm going to add, I know this, the background usually has more of a reddish tint to it, but we use a lot of like browns and darks for his body. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this blue gray for the sky just to contrast him a bit more. Around. What is the weight of the paper? I will let you know in a moment. I need to grab the cover for it. I ripped it out of, and I will let you know. And yes, weight of the paper, especially with watercolors, makes a huge difference, guys. If you use very light watercolor paper, you will notice right away that there is a lot of bending of the paper. And that's very typical. So you don't want to use the lightest of light watercolor paper because you will notice you'll be struggling with it. It'll be warping a lot more. So it makes a huge difference the weight of watercolor paper you use. And even brands, like some brands are just have better watercolor paper than others. So it's all trial and error. It's also learning what works for you and what doesn't. All right, while that dries, let me grab the paper. Not blending there, so I want it. Hope it does. There you go, buddy. Now let's just sign it right here at the bottom. All right. So while that dries, and hopefully you guys learned something new today. This is the paper that I'm using. The weight is the 140-pound one. I really like this brand. It's one of the few brands I use. I use 2 other brands, which off the top of my head, the other one is a Canson one. It's blue. It's Canson, it's blue. But yeah. Oh yeah, the red on his jacket, dude. Thank you. Yeah, duh. Guys, mix up a little bit of red, and right here where you made this line, do a red line, because we purposely were supposed to remember about that. Ta-da! Sorry, my bad. All right, cool. Now he's good. Well, thank you again for joining me, guys. Sorry that the stream is not as clear. We'll see if I try this again. If not, I'll see if I can get a refund and just go with the other one. But thank you again, guys, and I hope you have yourselves a wonderful Friday. And if you are on Instagram, I will be streaming a Peach later today at 5 p.m. Pacific. So thank you, guys, and have yourselves a great day. Bye.